Workspace Provision Co., your spot to create, connect, and grow. Flexible offices and event spaces made for entrepreneurs and dreamers. Come see what's possible. To learn more, visit workspaceprovision.com.
A business hub where you can go. It's a Workspace Provision Co. A business hub where you can go. It's a Workspace Provision Co.
Hello, everybody. My name is Grant Paxton. This is Workspace Podcast. We are in the bonsai room of Workspace Provision. I'm with Jasmine Zavala. She is soon to be, maybe, the commissioner of Wake Forest. She is running. She has a campaign. I found her on Instagram, and I'm super excited to hear her story so that the listeners here that are into small business and entrepreneurship can gain some insight what's going on in the local political world. Tell us about yourself. Brag about yourself. Who are you?
Well, this has been like the most fascinating interview process, I feel like, since I started this campaign journey. So my name is Jasmine Zavala, and I've been in Wake Forest here since I was 5 years old. My family found opportunity here, and we're coming on 25 years at a Mexican restaurant, Los Tres Magueyes, in Wake Forest off of Wake Union Church Road. And so this place gave my family opportunity, right? So what my dad instilled in us as children, this is what put food on the table. This is what puts a roof over our head. And so being able to, early on, the importance of taking care of a business and what that does for families. And so I went to Meredith College, right by NC State, the fairgrounds.
Okay.
And I majored in business and economics. And through that process, I had 2 internships. I worked at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is a federal agency that helps employers and workers fight off discrimination, whether that's my role was to get these cases and to see if there's any sort of discrimination on sexual orientation, gender, race, disability, age, and, pass that on to the officers to get that taken care of. But at the same time, I worked at a hotel, and the culture and the environment and the fulfillment that I felt in those roles really helped figure out what I wanted to do and what I did not want to do. And so I felt like I was really good at the business economic area. And so my husband, we met in 4th grade at Jones Dairy Elementary School, and we're coming on 14 years. But I have him to thank for this. We were having coffee one day, and he pulled out his calendar, and he said, "We're going to establish ourselves here as adults in Wake Forest, right? We've been here since we were 5, and we've seen this place, be just the Food Lion Shopping Center to one intersection to what it is now." And so he was at UNCW at that time, and I was looking at graduate programs, and I fell in love with the public administration program. So there was a lot of overlap between the business side of me and then be able to play a role in government work. And so through that program there at UNCW, I focused on public administration and public management, but I found that the key to saving the world was through policy. So during that time, I focused on nonprofit work. So New Hanover County has an incredible nonprofit environment. And so they're all very connected. And one thing that I found was that nonprofits are there when government needs help filling in the gap, right? So when you think about school supplies, when you're thinking about food, certain areas of emergency housing, nonprofits are able to come in and help the community and really fill in the gap in areas that the government may need assistance in. And so part of my role here in Wake Forest is just being able to recognize how we can have that same community and relationship with the nonprofits here. So there's that mindset of, rather than reinventing the wheel, let's combine our resources. Let's combine our grants. Let's combine staff and intel, volunteers, and different things like that to kind of link people together. And I've had such a great opportunity to do that already. And whether that's with the Boys and Girls Club and the Du Bois Center right now, it's like, hey, they're trying to do programs or you're trying to start programs that they're already doing. So let's go ahead and partner with them. And you're right across the street from each other. So let's build those relationships there. And so
to step back a second.
Yeah.
The commissioner, the board of commissioners, tell folks what is that?
I saw that there were 2 positions opened, and I was like, how funny would it be if I ran? It's always just been a dream of mine to be in public office.
Yeah.
And so when my husband pulled out his calendar, he was, we're going to vote, we're going to establish ourselves as adults. And we joked about it for a bit. It's like, yeah, how funny would it be? But as a family, we started having this conversation of what that would look like and what that meant. Because I'm a yapper, I'm very passionate about, certain issues. And so we're on the same team, Jasmine. And I'm like, okay, so let me go out and see how can I have my voice heard. And
Yeah.
so currently for the Board of Commissioners, I went to the the Wake County elections office, paid my $15,
Okay.
filled out the application, and that's something anyone, right? If you're a resident of Wake Forest, 18 years old, you just fill that application online or go to the Wake County Board of Elections.
Yeah.
And anyone can run. And I think that's a very important message that I want to share with the community, right? Because you may have other candidates that are running, but right, they're candidates that either the Democratic or Republican Party chose to represent Wake Forest. And so I am the only unaffiliated candidate.
Okay.
And so I don't have the resources that the other candidates might have, whether it comes to volunteers knocking on doors, volunteers at the polls, the money, the endorsements, the campaign strategy. So it's my husband and my parents and I and some great family friends and friends that are here supporting me and leading with data and equity and heart. And I do believe that they can all go hand in hand. It's just a matter of looking at what's going to help the most people, right? What decisions can we make that's going to help the most amount of people, and being able to make those decisions based off of, being a decent human being and recognizing that, everyone has a voice in the election. There's 2 spots open.
Okay.
There's 6 commissioners.
Okay.
And so the board,
in Wake County?
so it's
county
Wake
based
Forest.
or just the town of
local.
Wake Forest?
So it's local. So you have
Okay.
your municipal elections, which are your local elections, right? So
Yep.
we live in the town of Wake Forest,
Mm-hmm.
and the town of Wake Forest has its own government. We have our mayor and we have our 5 board of commissioners, and that's at the local level. And then that government, I have a video on my Instagram, right? So that's just our government here in Wake Forest.
Yes.
But then we have our government in Wake County. So then we have our Wake County commissioners,
Yep.
and they deal with school, populations, parks, money and distribution. And then you have the state, right? So the state of North Carolina, you have your
Okay.
General Assembly in the state of North Carolina.
Yep. And the governor. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Okay.
so we have our Senate and our House in North Carolina.
Right.
And in DC, in Washington, DC, right, we've got our president, we've got our representatives and our senators there.
Yep.
But we have our representatives that represent the state of North Carolina, right? So kind of just, it trickles down to this
Yep.
different levels of representation.
That's
and here in Wake Forest, our mayor and our board of commissioners directly influence the decisions that they're making regarding zoning and our budget here in our town. So understanding what our representatives here in Wake Forest have power over and what they don't have power over,
Yeah.
and just being able to, work with the town. The town is, Wake Forest is incredible and awesome. Employees and their staffs are very knowledgeable. And since I've started this whole process, anytime I've reached out to anyone in the town, they've been able to hold my hand and walk through all the questions that I have. And so that was exciting, because if I do end up being a commissioner, then it's just nice knowing that I can rely on specialized personnel and experts and professionals in these fields. Because I believe that as a leader, a government leader, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know all the answers, but I love talking to people. I love figuring out the whys and working with those who do know what traffic studies are being implemented, or nice knowing or being able to talk to our planner, right, when it comes to development and asking questions, so that I can, I'm a representative of the people. And so being able to take that sometimes that government jargon, or that, sometimes the approach of government it can be intimidating or not knowing where to start. I think just being able to be human and connect with the people that I want to serve. And, Board of Commissioners, we live here in Wake Forest. So I see the traffic that you see. I see the development that you see, right?
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing the same things in our community that are wonderful, right? Our park systems and just the village style community that I've always loved in Wake Forest. When I grew up, there's, look at our town calendar, there's always something to do, right?
Yeah.
So I think I want to continue to make Wake Forest like a place where we can all live and work and play and just be a part of that leadership.
I love it. The folks in the community that have a passion or have a want to make change in their community, how can they do that? Is it like this, running for commissioner or being involved in your town's council of some sort?
Absolutely. So as I've gone through this process, I've seen all the doors and opportunities that are available to residents. So one thing that the town does an incredible job is community input and engagement. And the town wants to hear what you have to say, right? Whether that's those surveys, or whether you're going to events and giving feedback, or whether you're reaching out to the directors, they want that input, right? We have a community plan, and it kind of just tells us where we are in Wake Forest right now, what's the mission of Wake Forest, and the vision of what we want it to be in the next 20 years. And so just knowing that there's information out there of like, what's the town doing when it comes to traffic? What's the town doing when it comes to the northeast side of Wake Forest? What's the town doing in regards to sidewalks?
Huh.
So just being able to know that you could go to the Downtown of Wake Forest website and everything is accessible there. And then just knowing, right, like just if you have a question, you could just go to town hall and they will direct you with someone who will happily answer those questions.
I love that element. Way back when the White House was open to the public, you could literally walk in and talk to the president. Of course, times have changed,
Right.
but and my facts aren't always 100% on, but I do know that element is lost, and so people think when I vote, it doesn't make a difference, or I'm gonna sit here and complain about all the problems, but not really believe in it or not get involved.
Right.
The community here in Wake Forest is very involved. There's different organizations. It's not just the town of Wake Forest, but we have the Friday Night on White.
Right.
We have the Boo Bash coming up. We have all of these things that bring these families right into town to support the different businesses and just to get to know each other.
Exactly. And so there are also like advisory boards. So if you want to volunteer and be a part of the conversation with the Board of Commissioners and with the town. So my husband, he does GIS and remote sensing. So
Okay.
really good with mapping, right? And so he applied to the IT board. There's historic preservation, as that's what you're into. There's a human relations council. There's, if you want to know what's going on with development, you could join the planning board. And so there are lots of different, from the town side, advisory boards and committees that you can, be a part of. But going back to like the nonprofits, right? Whether you want to get involved with the town at the government level, or if you want to get involved with like a nonprofit such as the Boys and Girls Club or organization like Pride, or the food bank, right? Or
Yeah.
Habitat for Humanity. So just really where your heart
Yeah.
really is going to find that most fulfillment and being able to kind of just give back. And I think my husband is a really good example of, someone who has been able to see the behind the scenes with me just being a part of the
Yeah.
campaign and just,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I love conservation, right? For fun, he's making maps of what Wake Forest looked like in the 1960s to how it is now. And he's just, as just a resident and someone who is curious, but it's like, let me part you up with the Wake Forest Conservation Alliance. Let me
Yeah.
part you up with someone who can use that data or your skill set. And so there's so much input and value that citizens can contribute just depending on the impact that they want to have. And I think that's a wonderful place wonderful thing that Wake Forest has. There's opportunity there. And I
Right.
think now more than ever to just have love and level-headed thinkers who are thinking forward with how we want our community to look like. We can do that at the local level.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a beautiful thing.
That's phenomenal. You definitely have a passion for this, a passion for change for the good, to bring in wholesomeness to communities. You've touched upon a couple things, small business and about your family business. You talked about zoning, about education. Is there like one major thing you want to see changed or really have input on? Is this like when you run for president, you have a 16-point plan and or are there just a couple things you're passionate about and you want to bring that to the table?
So I'm coming with, so I was a teacher.
Okay.
I taught with Teach for America through the AmeriCorps, and I wanted to, either be placed in DC or be placed here in our community. And I taught at Creedmoor Elementary School, about 10-15 minutes up the road
Yep.
in Granville County. And we were one of the lowest performing schools in the district. And so they shut down the school. And so just being able to kind of like be in that position of empowering our youth, right? If I got to be a teacher and teach them fractions that day,
Yeah.
that's great. But my priority was making sure that they were fed, that they had a safe space, that, I was a social worker, I was mom, I was nurse. I played all of these roles for these kids. The
Yeah.
big goal that I wanted was, let's make feminine hygiene products free for women in the country. And that's how my advisors were like, all right, Jasmine, we only have one semester to do this. Let's kind of like bring it down to more of a micro scale.
I love it.
So I was like, okay, let's see if we can exempt the taxation of feminine hygiene products in
Okay.
North Carolina. And just looking at different ways that, taxation or policy can kind of shift to help students. So just being with Teach for America, they are a wonderful and incredible resource. So if anyone ever has the dream of being a teacher. You don't need the certifications. They will walk you through the schooling. They will get you in
Yeah.
at a lateral entry at any school here in the country. And so COVID happened right when I graduated. So I've always wanted to be a teacher when I grew up, and I was able to kind of follow that path. And so when it comes to this campaign, education was my number one, right? If our students are, I think of it as Maslow's hierarchy,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Of just, making, if you're not fed or if you're not safe, you're not going to
Sure.
learn. So statistically, you have a 93% chance of dropping out if you can't read by the time you're in third grade.
Mm.
And so you can kind of just see how so many issues in our society can be fixed if we are investing in our children, right? If you have kids dropping out, but they can't read when they're 8, there's a 93% chance that they're going to not be able to graduate high school. And so investing in education, but Board of Commissioners do not deal with education.
Yeah.
But
That's state-based or county-based?
county and the state, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the budget and the county that you're in. But Ms. Shanika Thomas, so she ran for Wake Forest Commissioner. She lives here in Wake Forest. She did not win, but she made so many connections, and she ended up running for Wake County Commissioner. And
Okay.
she won that election, and she is, works alongside Wake County. And so just having relationships and connecting with the people who are in charge of education for the town of Wake Forest, and knowing who I can talk to and who I can advocate and have someone to talk to the Board of Education, be like, hey, our Wake Forest is growing. We need someone to put our students. How can we help? Or how can we have that conversation? Or what needs to be done at the local level to get more schools here in this town? Another hot topic is the DOT, so the Capital Boulevard Improvement Plan.
Yep.
And so just being able to talk to the right representatives who are in charge of that. Those are our state and federal representatives.
Mm.
And so making sure that Wake Forest has a voice and that Wake Forest is communicating and has relationships with other local leaders in our state to make sure that, don't forget about us. We're here, and
Yeah.
we want to make sure that, you're the projects that, whether they're federal or state funded, that are coming through our town, we have a voice and a plan and a relationship to make sure that the town here in Wake Forest residents get what they need.
A big thank you to today's sponsor, Mike Ponsel with Remax Legacy in downtown Wake Forest. If you're thinking about buying or selling, Mike is here for all your real estate needs in the greater Wake Forest area. I know firsthand. He helped me purchase my own home, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Mike's approachable, knowledgeable, and truly cares about helping you find the right fit. So when it's time to make your move, call Mike at 919-819-4039 or visit him online at wakeforestlegacy.com. That's Mike Ponsel with Remax Legacy, helping you feel right at home. I was an educator for a couple years in a middle school.
Very brave. My hat's off to you. I did 5th grade.
Yeah, I taught 8th grade, and I'm sort of being a bit of a sleeper here because I taught civics and government. And really, though, you touched upon something that struck a chord. I was passionate about social studies, but I was really passionate about helping these kids figure out who they were. I asked these kids, what are you compassionate about? What are you passionate about? And they didn't know. Being fed and having clothes and from a financial standpoint was one thing, but just helping these kids figure out who they were was my first thing. And so I would sort of flip the script on all the civics and government related things and really just focused it around what it means to be a citizen. And then we would figure out different skills or tricks or artistic stuff or music things to incorporate to help these kids try to find out who they wanted to be. But how it seemed, things kind of seem backwards in education, that teachers are spending their own pay or that they are doing things outside of the curriculum to bring these kids together. What does that say for the health of education?
Right. So I had COVID babies. So I taught 3rd and 5th grade. When they were in kindergarten, that's when COVID hit. So they missed that first year of kindergarten. 1st grade was a pass for them. 2nd grade, they had all virtual. So 3rd grade is the first time that, these 7, 8-year-olds are coming together in a classroom and just being on a screen, right, for the first few years of their education and what that looked like. And so I made an effort to teach social and emotional learning, right? SEL. And because it goes back to making sure that as a teacher, I'm raising contributing, kind citizens back out into the world. And so when it comes with like civics and economics, that's my jam.
Yeah.
So I would teach them, kind of relate it to them, because children have so much power and such an open mind that
Yeah.
whenever we get them involved with the conversations of civics and economics, like these 7th and 8th graders, that was their favorite subject to learn. But I got to teach it maybe for about 10, 15 minutes a day.
Right.
Because if you look at how education is set up, civics and economics is not tested by the state. And so that's one area in which I see needs to be looked at, because when it comes, especially in this day and age, our young minds need to know what our government is doing and how we can get involved and the power that community has. And that was one conversation that I've been having with other commissioners and like the mayor as well. What can we do to get the youth involved in our town? And so we had the debate that was held by the chamber.
Mhm.
But like, how cool would it be if we could get like different aged students from elementary, middle, and high school and have them just create a space where they can ask current candidates questions.
Yeah.
Right. And so just get them involved at such a young age. And I think that just really helps the mind open up to the power of voice and the power of communication and the power of representation of what a child might want and what a candidate can do. But when I think about education, these kids can't advocate for themselves. It's up to the adults. It's up to those
right.
leaders, and it's up to these organizations to do what's best for these children in the classroom.
That's
And
true.
so I hold that very near and dear to my heart, that I'm representing those that may not have a voice, or my elementary schoolers, right?
Yeah.
And being able to represent them, because they deserve it, and our country deserves education.
You touched upon advocating for yourself. You have to try to figure out a way to teach these kids at a young age how to advocate for themselves. There were so many instances when I was teaching where they would ask for something that's right in front of them. And what I mean by that is look around, see what you need, see what your partner's doing, and find the thing, whether it's a stapler or a handful of pencils or whatever it is, before you're just so glued to having someone do it for you or advocate for you. Or if you're missing and maybe I'm stating obvious things, but if you're missing an assignment, figure it out. Figure out what you missed for the day. Don't rely on the teacher to say, and granted, I'm teaching 7th and 8th graders in my experience, but don't just wait for somebody to say, hey, you missed these things, get these things done. Come up to the teacher, say, hey, teach what I missed yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think social and emotional learning comes into play. Every single day we'd start at the carpet, and we would watch these videos by Harvard University, that was backed by data on how to help children navigate being human, right? I think about myself as an adult, or just adults in general. How are we handling emotions when we are angry or happy or upset or need to communicate with another human? Our brain is a muscle. In the same way we're out in the gym lifting weights, that muscle memory is going to kick in and we'll get stronger.
Yeah.
It's the same way with our brain and our mind. So the more that we are using our brain as a muscle to build human connections and how to communicate and how to advocate for yourself
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah. So all in all, as you are in your campaign, when can we vote for you? When do polls open?
So Tuesday, November 4th
Okay.
is election day. 13 or 14 sites in Wake Forest.
Yeah.
So just making sure that you are registered and that you're a resident here. We've got lots of new neighbors as well. And so just making sure that old neighbors and new neighbors know where they can go out and vote. And, as long as there's a candidate that represents what you believe our community needs, that's great. And I just hope that I'm someone that people can connect with and see themselves in me, and just being able to, as a woman, we need more women in leadership. I believe it's Switzerland, New Zealand. Can't think of it right now, but
Okay.
their government is all run by women.
Yeah.
And it is the happiest country
Yeah, it
in
is.
the world.
Yeah.
And so it's like correlation, causation.
Yeah,
But
right.
just being able to have women be a part of that leadership.
Yeah.
And then just also having that diversity on our board,
Yeah.
whether that's male, female, but it's also that diversity of thought, right? Because if we are also electing leaders who are all thinking the same thing, we need diverse voices and a diverse mindset of individuals making decisions, because there's going to be things that I may not think about that someone else might think about, and just bouncing off ideas and backgrounds and experiences, and making sure that everyone is being represented.
Yeah. How can folks read about you or connect with you? Can you tell the mic what I know your website, but
Yeah, so www.jasmineforwakeforest.com.
Yep.
And on there, it takes you directly to my Instagram, Facebook, my LinkedIn page. I've started on Reddit as well. I feel that's a great community for younger voters as well to kind of be more aware about town. And Instagram and Facebook is Jasmine for Wake Forest. And so I post my journey of the things that I've learned, the people
Yep.
that I've spoken to. I spent the first half of the campaign, talking to our town leaders and our directors, that now in October and towards that second half, like, I'm really out talking to the people who are putting in the work, these community volunteers, these nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
So that's my jam and my bread and butter. And so
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I feel like no matter what happens on November 4th, I've won.
Right.
And this is just the beginning to, being able to establish myself here as a public servant in Wake Forest in whatever capacity the universe has for me.
Yeah.
So it's
Do you
great.
feel like the adult you wanted to be now?
Ab-
You said that in the beginning. It's time
Yeah.
to adult, or what did you say? Something
Yeah,
along
it's
those
time-
lines.
Exactly, right? It's time to establish myself as an adult here in
Do
Wake
you feel like how old are you?
30.
Okay.
So yeah,
So do you feel like you're establishing that?
I feel so. I think about the little girl Jasmine, right?
Uh-huh.
Whenever I first started this campaign, I was terrifying. It's scared to put yourself in like a public
Yeah.
service, right? I feel like whenever I would start to talk to people, they already knew everything about me, like
Yeah,
what's my
right.
blood type, my social security number. But to just put yourself out there, and
Yeah.
it was very vulnerable. And so
Sure.
I found myself being scared or afraid. But I took some time and I was like, 30-year-old adult Jasmine's not scared or afraid. It's little
Right.
Jasmine. She's still in there, scared to kind of put herself out there. But, the conversation that I have, it's all about that mindset. And I was just like, but we got this. Talking to myself, if you've ever seen Harry Potter, right? I think
Mhm.
of the Patronus, how the past, present, and future are all working together.
That's-
And so I am just so proud of everything that I've been learning throughout this campaign journey. And I'm definitely coming out of it so much stronger, more confident. And if I knew then what I know now,
Yeah.
right? It's just the beginning, and I'm really looking forward to whatever the universe has planned and where I'm meant to be. So
Amazing. Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. There are so many more things that we can definitely talk about. And now you've mentioned Harry Potter, economics, civics. We'll have to geek out at some point here together. But we have Miss Jasmine for Wake Forest Commissioner here with us. Again, I'm Grant Paxton. This is me and the maybe soon to be commissioner signing out.
thank you.
Thank you.
A business hub where you can go. It's a workspace provision code. A business hub where you can go. It's a workspace provision code.
Workspace Podcast is recorded at Workspace Provision Co. in Youngsville, North Carolina. If you would like to get involved or sponsor our next episode, email us workspacepodcastnc@gmail.com.